2 years ago, in this exact parking garage, my dad and I made a pretty controversial video that 500,000 of you guys watched about our Land Rover Defender 90S and the last year of ownership that we had with that vehicle and all of the reliability concerns that we dealt with during that time period. We sold that Defender because of some of the stuff that we ended up going through with it.
The market was crazy.
And the market was absolutely insane. We ended up making a little bit of money on that Defender, so made out pretty well on that. However, the Defender prices are coming down now. We are standing in front of a beautiful first edition Defender that's MSRP is like almost 15 grand more than the Defender that we previously had.
Right.
And it makes these a lot more appealing now that they're depreciated. So is it worth buying a used Defender? Let's get into that. Just before we get into this video, I want to give a genuine thank you to you all for helping us and supporting our channel. The 500,000 of you that watched our last video are the reason that we got some new microphones. So thank you. There are all types of other different videos that you can check out here on our channel. My name is Austin. My dad Todd and I run this. Now let's get into it.
All right, Austin, one of the cool things we'll check out in the video today is the fact that the Defender we owned was the Defender 90S, so almost at the very bottom of the trim line, where the P400 first edition in today's video is towards the top of the trim line. So if you're shopping for one of these on the used market, it's going to be pretty fun for us to give the opinion after spending some time in the first edition on some of those big differences that you might be questioning if you feel you have to have, some of the different options that you feel you have to have. Now, just to point out a few things that the Defender 91st edition has, almost every accessory that you could get on the Defender is represented in the video today. From the larger engine at the time, to the snorkel, to the ladder, to the roof rack, to the storage container on the passenger side, to the tire cover, to the tire inflator, to the mud flaps. This Defender has just about every accessory that Land Rover offered.
And it does look really cool with all of those accessories. That ladder is definitely unique looking. It makes it stick out on the road. The gas tank, the big storage cubby on the side, all those things really make it stick out. The snorkel too makes it look like a very capable off-roader. The one thing I'm not a huge fan of on the first edition, I don't know if you're on the same page with me here, but I like the wheels a heck of a lot more in the 90S that we had. These 5-spoke silver wheels do not give this thing any off-road presence in my opinion.
Okay, you're not wrong there.
So I'm just not a huge fan of that when we talk about exterior differences between the two of them. Other than that, the whole body's super cool.
It's really cool, and we'll like dive into some of these more details as we go through the video. And there's also some differences on the inside. The one thing that we really need to point out though is that at new, the Defender that we had towards the bottom was a $15,000 approximate, I'll call it like 17 to be genuine with you guys, $17,000 MSRP difference over the first edition in the video. There's still a similar price gap on the used market. So that depreciation has finally taken place. There was a point in time when this was the hottest vehicle on the market and people were paying $20,000 over MSRP during that crazy time in our life that hopefully never happens again. But anyways, that depreciation has followed the Land Rover down with those options. So is it worth it? Do you need to buy a Defender that's completely decked out? Or will you be happy with the base model? Stay tuned to the end of the video to hear the opinion.
We'll go through all of those options and stuff in a minute here, but ultimately what I want to talk about and what we ultimately want to get into is this a good buy on the used market? Now that they have depreciated a little bit, does it make sense to pursue a Defender, or are they too scary, unreliable to actually obtain and own? Let's go ahead and talk about ultimately what we have read in forums, what we have seen in groups, and how people are enjoying these Defenders. Is this something you should pursue, or should you stick with something like a Bronco or a Wrangler or double the price G-Wagon?
Yeah, so good points, Austin, and I'm excited to kind of talk about this because it's the controversial topic that everyone will argue on both sides, right? Because there's very dramatic ownership differences, ownership experiences that Defender owners have.
Yeah.
There's people that like, they are so ridden with issues that, God forbid, I will curse the name Land Rover and yell it from the mountaintops. And then there's the complete opposite side of I've put 100,000 miles on this thing. It's had absolutely zero issues and zero flaws. And it doesn't seem like there's usually a whole lot of in between. There obviously is, but that's just the way that people communicate, whether it's on social media or on a forum. Like, this is the worst vehicle ever, and I will never buy it. What's funny, just met someone recently that purchased a used Defender, and they've kind of been on the horror story side, right? And they've had like major issues that are taking the Defender off of the road for weeks on end, and that's still part of the issue, is like getting some of the spare parts. One of the common things I'm hearing is a lot of faults with the safety systems, like the lane keep assist taking over, freaking out, shutting the car down.
Yeah.
So that's definitely an issue, just the electronic side of things. We had some minimal hiccups on our previous ownership with that, but the resets of the Pivi Pro and the resets of just the software updates, that's what fixed those issues. Steering rack failure, this is something I heard from someone that I personally know. I've also read about it, that the steering can go out. This is obviously a towable repair. Got all the software working again, so the steering rack would work again. However, the codes wouldn't completely clear out of the system, so they actually had to replace the steering rack. That took weeks to get in the specific instance I'm aware of. But there is stuff that will happen and will fail, just like any car. One of the items on the 4-cylinder, not so much on the 6-cylinder that we're standing next to, are coolant leaks. And this is like prone to just Land Rover. Land Rover's like, man, they've rolled the dice in the wrong direction for coolant issues, because they have a lot of vehicles that have coolant leaks. That is true for the 4-cylinder Defender, the one that we owned. I complained about it to the dealer. You
smelled a coolant leak.
I smelled it. It couldn't be seen anywhere. I had the dealer take everything off, look it over. They couldn't find one. Well, after I sold it, the owner that bought it reached out and was like, the low coolant light's on. And I told him the story and whatever, and I don't know where it ended, but it clearly was leaking coolant. Like I could smell it.
Yeah.
So there's a few different places that are failures on that. We won't get into all those specific details. This is more your general overview of, boy, I like the Defender. They look cool. I want to live the Defender life, but am I going to do it?
You absolutely can do it. However, if you are going to do it, I do have some suggestions that I personally would do while going along with your purchase. I would not own a Defender without a CPO warranty on it.
It's a very good idea. I agree with that. That's wise. That means you will most likely be buying from
a JLR dealer.
Right, right.
So it's kind of a tough thing to toss up in the air to buy one without either a really good aftermarket warranty or a JLR CPO warranty. The JLR CPO warranties, it's pretty good, and they do a great job of covering everything if you have any complaints. It's just, it's really hard to know if you're going to buy this Defender, and it will be trouble-free, because the majority of the time if you're buying a used Defender, you have no idea what the previous owner went through. You don't know anything about the car, right?
Yeah, doing the research is important, though.
It is.
Do the Carfax. Like, I will even try to get the notes out of the dealer to see if they will like give
JLR dealers, they keep notes and they throw them up in their service cloud for every vehicle that they service at all their facilities, which is fantastic. So if you have interest, or if you're inquiring on one of these cars, call up your local JLR dealer, ask for finance, ask for the service history. If you ask for finance, they can give you pricing on a CPO warranty if you're not purchasing through a JLR dealer. You can ask for their service department, you can give them the VIN number, and right then and there they can break down and email you all of the service history. And these are all high-end dealers. You're not dealing with no Ford or no Chevy. They are like great customer service, is my reason for saying that. They will do this free of charge, happy to help, because in the end, they might sell a certified pre-owned warranty. They might be able to service your vehicle in the future.
Just to correct something, there are some Ford and Chevy dealers that have incredible service.
I'm not denying that. I'm just stating, you know what I mean?
A cappuccino with a massage.
Correct. Right? That's the type of thing that I was going after there. Absolutely. They're amazing cars. It's just having us owned one, being in the forums that we're still in, hearing the people's experiences that we're still communicating with, I couldn't justify owning one without a warranty on it.
Very good. So could you? Yes. But your first initial ownership, it would be wise, just in case there were some gremlins that still need to be dealt with from the previous owner, something like that. You can get a CPO, not a CPO, an aftermarket warranty. that will be solid for 5, 6, 7 grand and get a few years out of that. But anyways, this isn't the vehicle if you're pitching pennies or if you're trying to just afford your monthly payment. This is like my Dave Ramsey talk here. Like, this isn't the vehicle for you. This is the vehicle that you want to have the funds to be able to afford repairs as they come up. And this is going to be a good segue into actually talking about the options on, do you need the one with all the options, or is the lower one that's affordable actually really good?
I do have a question for you right now. Say you were to buy this Defender as it sits right now. It does not have an aftermarket warranty on it. So you call somebody up and you need to put an aftermarket warranty on it because you're planning on purchasing this Defender. That aftermarket warranty is $7,500. Are you going to purchase this used Defender with 14,000 miles on it for $7,500 over the depreciated about $11,000 to $12,000 off of sticker that this is? Or are you going to go buy a brand new one?
That's hard, right? It's a hard decision to choke down and something you got to think about. So yeah, that's where it's good to find one that's a CPO that you don't have to choke that price down. The good thing,
CPO is where it's at.
So the good thing, and here's a little insider trick that I learned. You call the dealerships, you call the JLR dealerships. They don't sell an aftermarket Land Rover warranty. They are all third-party warranties. So what I did to try to save some money, and I proved this is a thing, you figure out the warranty company that the finance team is trying to sell.
Because then you avoid...
You go around them,
yeah.
You go around their cut and contact that warranty provider directly. And then when I was looking at this, I think it was substantial. We're talking like $2,300, $2,400 difference I would have saved if I would have bought the same warranty from the provider versus going through the dealer.
Because we don't only have experience with Land Rover products, we actually have previously owned an F-Type, and you just purchased a Jaguar F-Type SVR. Yeah, so be sure to hit like and subscribe if you're interested in this brand, because we have an F-Type SVR in the garage and we got a lot of cool content coming on it. Let's go ahead and segue into talking about those options. We pulled up Auto Trader right before we started making this video, and we found the Defender we previously owned in the price point of around $40,000 with just under 30,000 or right around 30,000 miles on it. Just for reference, this 14,000 mile Defender 90 the same year is $55,000. So about $15,000 more. Like my dad mentioned earlier, we are on track following that window sticker depreciation. There's no variation. It's following the window sticker. I got in this Defender today after having the other one for 2 years or a year and a half, however long we had it. I didn't notice a difference.
Right, yeah, and that's fun, and there's some specific options that I want to make sure that we talk about when we get inside. But let's just take this from the front of the car back, and then we're going to hop inside and kind of tell you our experiences. One thing that I thought I had to have when I purchased it, and you're right on, you know what my mind is thinking here, is the daytime running lights. I thought I had to have that option. It's cool. On the used market, I don't want it, because if those things break, like, they're thousands of dollars, and I've seen a lot of them that have like half of the light illuminated or one of the squares out. So like, don't make that a deal breaker is my whole point.
I will admit they are fantastic,
so cool.
and also they have the moving and whatever. They're really, really cool. But yeah, it's not necessarily worth it. The factory, not LED running lights have this chrome strip around them that make it look like they are illuminated even when they are not. They are still cool looking. It still has a similar appearance. No, it does not light up, but no, it also doesn't cost nearly as much money as these ones do to replace.
They work awesome though. And moving on from the headlights into the engine compartment, this has the P400 in it. It has about, we're spitballing here, about 100 more horsepower, about 100 more torque than the 4-cylinder that.
Is it really that much? You're spitballing, I don't remember.
Spitballing, but I think I'm fairly accurate.
If you're accurate on that.
The other one is the P300. This is the P400. I believe this has just under 400, like 395, and if my memory is correct, the P300 is like 295 or something like that.
And this is still hooked up to the same ZF 8-speed transmission. Yep. The ZF 8-speed in this thing feels lousy. Yeah, it's reliable, but it doesn't shift fast. It's not fun. It's a purpose-built transmission. It just shifts when you need it to. It's not exciting by any means. And driving this one versus driving the 4-cylinder, it's not worth the money in my opinion. You're getting worse gas mileage. And
no, this is considered a mild hybrid, so I do think there are some people that say you will get the equivalent, or even in certain circumstances, better gas mileage than the 4-cylinder with the V6. But there's also circumstances that the 4-cylinder, it's just driving conditions, like around town versus country road highway. So it's like from the gas mileage standpoint, it's really like a juggling act.
I will admit here, so I don't think it's worth it power-wise, but I do think it might be worth it if this is a vehicle you're keeping long-term, longevity-wise. This V6 has a lot more power and torque, and it's going to take a lot stress to get this vehicle up and moving versus that big, heavy vehicle with the little 4-cylinder in it. This one might be more reliable in the long term. Of course, we don't know that as of right now, but that's my guess.
There is that, but there's the other side of it. Just going, like, do you have to have this? Absolutely
no.
Not. If this is well, I have to have the V6 because it's got more power, it's really not that substantial, like being behind the wheel.
You're not going to win any races no matter what motor you have. It's not meant for it.
Hang on, what's that new one they got coming out? The 4 twin turbo?
Yeah. The V8 Defenders is a whole nother topic. We're not talking about
You're
those.
Be excited just saying that.
Yeah, I'd love to check that out. And even just the standard 5-liter and then the BMW motor that they're now putting in it. Yeah, those are going to be a riot. But once again, that's G-Wagon price territory. Right. So we're in a whole nother ball game right now.
Right. All right, let's keep moving here. I do love the decal on the hood. You can get that on the 110 as well, not just the 90. And keep that in mind in the video. A lot of this stuff transfers over to the 110. This isn't a 90 specific video. The air suspension, we have this thing all the way up right now. On the Defender that we had, that lower trim, we are on coils. And I wanted coils from the get-go. That's what excited me. Want to know why?
Reliability.
Because it doesn't break. And on the used market, I would say a coil Defender is way more attractive than a air ride suspension. Yes, sure, it is a little more comfortable. Yes, you can make it go up and down.
I'm not gonna lie, I still thought the old air suspension was somewhat stiff over bumps and stuff. I mean, it's not that dramatically different to the point where it's worth the reliability cost of it going out one day. It is not a comfortable ride here in the air suspension. Do not go into it thinking I'm going to have this crazy luxurious ride because I got the air suspension. It is not that big of a difference. It's not.
Now, so you got anything you want to say about the snorkel?
I think it looks awesome. It is functional. We did look under the hood here. It travels through the fender is where it takes in air. So if you're one, just wanting it for super cool looks, or two, you're going to put this thing through more water than it could possibly imagine wading through, get it. It's sweet.
For sure. The OEM little side steps here, they do a great job of staying low and tight to the body, but also giving you a little extra clearance.
And making it super pointless, in my opinion.
They are pointless, but if you need that extra inch or two to get in there, then
I guess.
Look at that.
I guess.
Sweet. Up top, we have the roof rack. That is something I felt like I needed to have.
It's really cool, and it's super beneficial. Easy to strap stuff down on, the way that it's all set up there. I think it's awesome. I think it's super beneficial, especially having the not as much space as the 110.
Yeah.
I think that's sweet.
That is the biggest deal here, is like not as much space as the 110, but there's the cons of it. You're going to get road noise. There's no denying that. There's also the fact that you're getting a little more height clearance if you live like in a metro area with low clearance garages. I'm pretty sure this was the deal breaker at some Minneapolis parking garages, that if we had that roof rack on there, we wouldn't have made it in. So make sure you take that in mind. Another must-have I thought I had to have was the ladder.
And I opened the ladder up, and you opened it up too. It's, I locked it. You can lock and unlock it with a little set of keys here. It's sketchy.
It makes you feel sketchy. Like I'm climbing up my $55,000 car on this thing that's like flexing. And how this mounts is it's like physically bolted into here. So if like you get the wrong like weight distribution on there, you end up ripping off like the side of your car, and I don't want anything to do with that.
No, and like it's like flexing up top, and it's all plastic.
Check this out, right?
You can touch your tire and do the same thing pretty much. There's no way I open that thing up. There's no way I would put both feet on there, and there's no way I'm going up above the bottom step. Like, I'm not scared of heights. I'm fine going up ladders. That ladder's sketchy.
Yeah, it just seemed a little sketchy, right? I love the mud flaps. I wanted these on the Defender that we had so bad.
So wide.
Like promoting the Land Rover logo there, but it's like so safari looking.
I agree.
Absolutely love it.
This is super cool looking as well. And of course, if you go off-roading, there's function. Massive pain in the butt to fill your tank with it, but
Well, you're not going to fill your tank because it says potable water, not for fuel.
Oh, well, I guess you won't be thirsty. My bad.
I'm really excited to get to the inside because I think there's some fun things in there. There's some absolutely items that a lot of people thought were must-have, thought were cool, and I might have a different opinion here. This obviously was not a, this one specifically is not a Land Rover option. That's aftermarket, but having that table there is cool. I love the extra light. I wish I would have known about that when we owned ours, because that really adds a different element there. We even have the air charger, which that's cool. I'm sorry. Like having the air charger on board.
Is that actually what it's called? An air compressor?
Air compressor. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks for the help there, bud.
Yeah.
Look at that. We better lower the suspension since we're back here, right? The air compressor is awesome, not only for yourself off-roading, but also maybe lending a hand to someone else. I love the concept of having that, and the functionality is awesome.
Can we take in mind that the suspension did not lower? Oh, there it goes. You got to hold it.
You have to hold the button?
Yeah, there. She goes down pretty quick. Now it's like a squatted Defender.
There you go.
Can we just take in mind that all of these crazy extra accessories that we have mentioned on this $17,000 more Defender, you can add on to the other one?
Right, but they're not cheap. It's like,
no,
I'm not remembering prices here, but this is like $4 grand. This is like $1,000. The tire cover is like $700.
That air compressor
is like $1,000.
That air compressor can't be cheap.
Yeah, so I mean, you add all this stuff up, and it's like, if you feel like you have to have it, and there's a point here, it's going to be like $7-8 grand. So if you have to have it, then yeah, sure, buy this one that already has them on it versus going and piecing them together. I'm willing to bet it's going to come out cheaper in that regard. But like, here's my opinion after spending a little time and touching the stuff and seeing it and being in the car. Like, yeah, sure, it looks cool for everyone else that sees it, but for me that's actually paying the bill, I don't have to have this.
No, like I don't, you can't fit that much in here. You can fit a few changes of clothes, but like in reality on a day-to-day basis, you're never going to use this once.
Right.
The ladder, I'd rather step on the tire than ever use that ladder again.
Right.
Yeah, they look really cool for everybody else, but for function-wise, they're just not all that.
Unless like this is your life that you're overlanding and you need every square inch of space and every option available, don't feel like you need this stuff just to look cool for someone else. Like,
I agree.
I got over it within spending a few hours with this vehicle. Hopping inside here, there's a few things that I'm so glad I got to experience this after we had our Defender, because there's a few things we thought were cool in the moment that I have a completely different opinion about now. The first one being the seats. So we actually had the full leather seats, where these ones have the cloth outside and leather inside. If you're looking for a little history lesson here, there was a massive quality issue with that fabric on the outside, with it staining, with it becoming discolored, with not having a good solution for it. So on the used market, I would highly recommend looking for the full leather seats and trying to avoid the cloth seats. Another option that completely transformed the interior of the Defender, 90 or 110, I believe. I don't think this is just a 90 option if my memory is correct, is having that middle seat up front. Yeah, sure, you can have another spot for someone sitting in the center that would be completely uncomfortable for someone to sit up there. But what it does is it completely transforms the inside feel of the Defender from something that feels luxurious to something that like just feels like a kind of a junky truck type feel. When you have the center console, you have all the additional storage, you have the cup holders, you have the wireless phone charger, amazing storage opportunities, and it just looks cool because you have that same material and kind of some armrest and different handles. This just, it changes the feel of the interior so much that I would avoid it like the plague. Something else that we found unique is the fabric top that we have in this specific Defender. And although this might be a fun party trick and you might think it is cool or sounds cool, I would never want this in an environment that has 4 seasons. It is loud, it is fabric, so it's gonna take abuse, it's gonna color, it's gonna stain. I would never look for that option on the used market. It might be fun for your first few years of new ownership. I would avoid that like the plague on the used market as well. So what is fun on this is everything that is cool the full digital dash, the rear backup camera, all the fun cameras, that the 360 cameras that surround the Defender, the Pivi Pro, which is absolutely amazing, still one of my favorite systems out on the market. All the stuff that's cool and important, the heated steering wheel, the heated seats, they were all in the low $50,000 Defender that you can now get on the used market for $40,000. So here's the big summary point, boys and girls. All these options, and I've said this before, like, they're kind of pointless. Like, who cares if you have memory seats on your passenger side? There's so many like dumb little things that just don't matter. Like, the options don't really matter much at all. It would be my opinion that you find a low mileage, $40,000 used Defender with a warranty, and you rock it, and you're gonna love the heck out of it.
I'm gonna summarize this whole video here in a super brief, quick summary. The options on the Defender. There are vehicles out there that options matter. There are vehicles where it will transform the car as you go up the line. The Defender is not one of them. This vehicle costs way more than the cheaper ones, and I don't notice the differences enough to ever justify the price gap whatsoever. Buy yourself a low optioned Defender with just the necessities. And number two, make sure it's got a warranty on it. Do not buy a Defender without a warranty on it. I have a feeling down the line, when these get a little bit older, we're gonna start seeing more issues. I have a feeling. Right? Yeah, so just make sure that you are prepared to either pay for repairs or you have a warranty backed up to do so. And I think that wraps up everything on the Defender. They're still super cool. They're still amazing looking. I still don't really see them very often, to be completely honest with you.
They're awesome. One of the better looking SUVs on the road still.
Yeah, I fully agree. I love the Defender. I think it's sweet. I think you need to buy one. Thank you guys so much, and we look forward to seeing you next time.